Yeah, welcome everyone. Cannabis news with Joe Klare for April 11th, 2018, presented by the Marijuana Times. You find a bunch of great articles, a bunch of great writers, myself included. Also, every episode of this show on marijuanatimes.org, easily shareable, the articles and the videos, of course, easily shareable on your social media networks. You can also search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to find the audio-only version of the show. For those of you on the go today, a few awesome stories, as we do for each episode. The latest on legalization out of Michigan. As you know, there's a big battleground when it comes to recreational legalization this fall. I'll tell you what's going on there. Also, a state lawmaker in Louisiana falls for a very old, well, not very old, well, yeah, old enough, marijuana satire story that others have fallen for in the past as well. Also, former House Speaker John Boehner surprised a lot of people. Surprised me. I didn't know that this was a thing until this morning. It was all over the Cannabis news wires. John Boehner is now Mr. Gun-Ho Marijuana, and he's joining the board of a marijuana company. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll talk about all that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis news with Joe Klare is brought to you by NatureSideCannabis.com and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free and be regulatory compliant in the state where you grow. NatureSideCannabis.com. Site is spelled C-I-D-E. Natureside Cannabis. Don't put harmful chemicals on your grow. Use organic, all-natural, regulatory compliant pesticides. NatureSideCannabis.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. This first story from marijuanatimes.org by yours truly. Well, Michigan legislators undercut marijuana legalization before voters decide this fall. Now, I want to be clear in the beginning that there's just rumblings. As I point out in the first paragraph of the story, there's just rumblings in the legislature. Basically, the plan would be this. There's definitely enough signatures to get marijuana legalization, recreational legalization on the fall ballot in Michigan. It's polling very well. Some people say mid-50s. It would pass if they were voting today, and that may fluctuate between now and November. We'll see. But some people in the legislature apparently are in talks and swirling, if you will, the idea that the legislature pass a recreational marijuana legalization bill. Obviously something would be watered down in comparison to what would pass in November. That way, they undercut marijuana legalization. They keep a lot of people home. Apparently, Republicans are worried that marijuana legalization is going to bring out a lot of Democrat voters, and they don't want that. So they think that maybe if they pass marijuana legalization, they could take the wind out of the sails, if you will, of a lot of Democratic voters and make them stay home because there'd be no point because marijuana is already legal. Why do we have to go vote for marijuana legalization when it's already legal? But, apparently the Republican caucus in Michigan is very divided on this issue, so the odds of this happening are slim. But as I do point out in the article that I wrote at marijuanatimes.org, same thing happened in Ohio. This was used very successfully in Ohio. If you remember in November 2015, you remember issue 3, Buddy the marijuana mascot, Nick Lachey, marijuana monopoly, etc. Issue 3 in Ohio lost by 30 points in November 2015. So the Marijuana Policy Project came out and said, well, maybe next year in 2016, we can get some sort of, decent middle of the road, decent access medical marijuana plan with some home growing, what they had done in other states. They want to get that on the ballot for 2016. So the Ohio legislature steps in and says, no, we're going to pass a more watered down version of that, which is what they're struggling through right now. No smokable marijuana, no home grow. Can't seem to get things done. There's problems. There's lawsuits over awarding the licenses. Now they're saying that September 8th is the deadline, but that all the stores won't be open on September 8th. I've said many, many times in this show and elsewhere, issue 3 would have been leaps and bounds better than what medical marijuana is now in Ohio. Issue 3 would have been retail shops, would have been medical marijuana, the whole 9 yards. There would have been 10 massive growers, and yes, that bothered everybody, and there was a stupid mascot, and that bothered everybody. Well, now you should be bothered by the crap medical marijuana program that Ohio now has when they could have had a better one. But all that's water under the bridge. The point is this. Ohio legislators undercut that medical marijuana program because after they passed the medical marijuana law, MPP pulled out because there was no point in going after their medical marijuana law. People are going to stay home. If they're told on the news every day, well, this stuff's already illegal, they'll say, well, why am I going to vote on it? Did it make it slightly better? No, I'll stay home, take a nap. So that's what happened in Ohio. Will it happen in Michigan? The odds, as I said, are not likely, but you never know. You have to be on the lookout for these things. As soon as you let your guard down, then that's where the problems arise. Isn't that a famous quote? As soon as you let your guard down, the problems arise. If it's not a famous quote, please, if you make a meme of it on the internet, quote me. Give me credit. When something to live on passes me, it'll be that quote, which I've already forgotten. But I have it recorded. I'm recording this, so everything's fine. This next story is from theadvocate.com out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Fake news article cited by Louisiana lawmaker in argument against medical marijuana. Yes, that's right. Representative Dottie Horton from Houghton, Louisiana, a Republican, she basically quoted a Daily Current article that said 37 people died on the first day of recreational marijuana legalization of sales in January of 2014. I cut this little clip out of the almost 2-hour video that was on YouTube of this hearing. This actually happened in the Louisiana State House on you'll see it timestamped April 5th, 2018. It may
help in some situations and cause harm in others.
We do have a question for you. If that's
sure.
Okay. Representative Horton.
Appreciate you testifying today or speaking out on behalf, because it's been a broad statement, not just today, but I believe last week, that no one has ever died of an overdose of marijuana. No one.
Right.
But in January 2014, the Colorado publication, the Daily Current, they reported 37 died from overdose on the first day that the marijuana was legalized. 37 died.
37 died. Let's go back and listen to that again.
But in January 2014, the Colorado publication, the Daily Current, they reported 37 died from overdose on the first day that the marijuana was legalized. 37 died. And you can laugh, but it is fact. And
people laughed, and she said it's fact. This is a theme that has run through the show since the beginning. It's a theme that's run through my writings for many years on cannabis. This woman knows nothing about cannabis. She doesn't even know the most rudimentary, basic level ideas or concepts that surround cannabis, its effects, what legalization does, what legalization is. She has no idea whatsoever. None. Because even the most basic research would have shown her that 37 people did not die from a marijuana overdose in Colorado on the first day of legalized sales. 37 people have not overdosed and died on marijuana in the history of marijuana. 0 people have. 0 people have. And she took issue with that because people, if you watch, which I did, a lot of this hearing, the parts before this was towards the end, a lot of people said and pointed out that you don't die from overdose on marijuana. You don't. You just don't. Because believe me, there'd be people in the streets, dead people everywhere, if you could overdose on marijuana. It is not possible. Now, you can take a dab on a roof and get lightheaded and fall off the roof, but that's not dying from an overdose of marijuana. A bale of marijuana could fall out of a CIA plane, as the old Joe Rogan joke goes, and crush you, but you didn't die from an overdose of marijuana. This is an actual state representative in the state of Louisiana talking about a Daily Current piece, which had gotten other people before. It was a big deal. Well, she would know if she did even the most basic research on cannabis. And look, I've said many, many times, you're probably getting tired of hearing it if you watch the show a lot. It's fine to be ignorant about marijuana. That's fine. It's weird. In this day and age, if you want to know something about marijuana, you can find it out. The internet is amazing for that. Google, YouTube, just go nuts. In 20 minutes, you'll know a ton about marijuana. You'll learn that most of the stuff you were told growing up is absolutely not true. You'll learn that 37 people did not die on the first day of legalized sales in Colorado. 37 people have not died from marijuana ever, total in history, going back as far as they can go back. What is it, 7,000 years, 10,000 years? I don't care if it's 20 years. None. Pick any time frame you want. So this woman, they're laughing at her because it's stupid. You notice in the video, this guy wants to get up and say something like, "Hey, it's not That's not true. That was a parody article. There's a satire article. It's not, that didn't happen. But she says, it's fact. It's fact. You can laugh if you want, but it's a fact. 37 people dead. But this woman is in a hearing. She is a state representative of Louisiana, from Houghton, Louisiana. She didn't take the time to look any of this up. A staff member probably handed this to her. Staff member is probably fired now because it was embarrassing. And she had to tweet out an apology, which is a horrible apology. We'll look at that in a second. But she makes this assertion that it's a fact. She has done no research on this whatsoever. She can't assert that it's a fact. She has no idea whether or not it's a fact. None whatsoever. She's trusting someone else who probably told her that, hey, here's this Daily Current piece. This is a fact. But this is her job. You can be ignorant of marijuana, but if you have power over marijuana laws, God, read something. Just read something. I don't know.
And it's probably, that statement's probably funny to people who are proponents, and it's serious.
It's funny because it's stupid. It's funny because it's stupid. But she says, it's serious to, the people, I guess they're the family members of these mythical dead people.
Proponents, and it's serious.
Well, if you smoke dope,
who are the family members who have died? And so my thing is that, no, we don't.
You see the guy there in the beard, he gets up and he's like, can I say something? No, okay, I'll sit back down.
Don't know, and we, to me, are not qualified to make the decision. Say it's going to help her son, or it's going to help this soldier, veteran, because we all want the help.
I love that. We're not qualified. She just made this ridiculous assertion, and she unironically follows it up with, we are not qualified to make these decisions. Yes, none of you are qualified, apparently. I'm qualified. People who want to use marijuana in their own home, they're qualified to make a decision for themselves because it's themselves. It's their body. It's their choice. Their body, their choice. Have we heard that slogan for many, many years? Now, continuing with Representative Horton, the distinguished Representative Horton from Louisiana.
But again, it's just we hear so many statements in here, and this
And I don't research any of them.
committee, and I guess it depends on what side you're on, who you believe. But I do know people have died from it. I do know
No, you don't.
that it's categorized as a gateway drug. That's fact. And
It's
until the FDA approves it for these,
Oh, God. It's categorized as a gateway drug. What category? Is she talking about Schedule 1? Is that what she's talking about? Yes, that is a fact that it's Schedule 1. Controlled Substance, under the Controlled Substances Act of the United States. But that's categorized as a gateway drug, and that is a fact. This woman knows nothing about cannabis, and yet she has a vote on what goes on with the medical marijuana program in Louisiana. Blows my mind, and this is where we're at. This is where we're at. I don't know. I'm flummoxed. I'm flabbergasted. Well, anyway, afterwards, she sent out a tweet. Get a load of this. This Elizabeth Crisp, who I guess did an article on this. Background in the article that Representative Dodie Horton cited as evidence that marijuana killed 37 people on the first day of legalization in Colorado. Spoiler, it was satire. Not true. So what's her response? I was given this info from a so-called trusted source, but now know the story was not credible. What is fact is the number. Well, I guess she's meant to say what in fact is the number of car wrecks, or what is a fact. I think that's what she was going for. Is the number of car wrecks as a direct result of marijuana use in Colorado is up by 48%, with several ending in deaths. Need the experts FDA to approve usage first. Okay, well, let's. Car wrecks, a direct result of marijuana use, are up 48%. None of that is true. None of that is verifiable. None of it. Maybe what she meant to say was that car wrecks involving people who have THC in their system are up a certain percentage, which is indeed true. There's better testing. There's probably more people using THC now that it's legal. They're using more of it, certainly, because they don't have to worry about, higher prices. Prices are plummeting in Colorado. And they and it stays in your system 2, 3 weeks, maybe more. The analogy I've pointed out many times, if you smoke 2 joints or whatever on Saturday night and you go to work on Monday morning, are you still impaired with marijuana? It's in your bloodstream. Are you still impaired by the marijuana you smoked Saturday night? Of course not. Maybe that's what she meant. But the problem is not what she might have meant. The problem is she has no idea. She has absolutely no idea what she means, what she's talking about. Which, again, for the 1,000th time is fine. Be ignorant. But you can't be ignorant and then make laws over the thing you're ignorant about. That's crazy. But that's the world we live in. It was crazy that marijuana is illegal in the first place. It's crazy we have to go through all this to get it to not be illegal anymore. The last story, as I said, broke big on the Cannabis wires this morning. John Boehner was a longtime opponent of marijuana reform. Here's what changed his mind. This is from WashingtonPost.com. John A. Boehner, the former Republican Speaker of the House, who once said he was, quote, unalterably opposed to decriminalize marijuana laws, has joined a board of directors for a cannabis company with an eye on rolling back federal regulations. Now, this has brought out a ton of opinions, as you would imagine, throughout the cannabis community. And I can see both sides. Okay, well, first, before we get into that, we'll get further into this story. The former Ohio congressman has been appointed to the board of advisors of Acreage Holdings, which own they have a stake in a ton of marijuana businesses across the country, invoking the need for veterans to access the drug legally. To explain his change of heart, Boehner said in a statement Wednesday, the company grows and sells legal weed and operates in 11 states. Boehner's acceptance of marijuana tracks with evolving beliefs about the drug and its uses among Americans and even Republican lawmakers. Eric Altieri, executive director for the Washington-based marijuana advocacy group NORML, told the Washington Post. But Altieri said Boehner probably would have been more influential if he supported marijuana use for veterans while he was the speaker. The Department of Veterans Affairs continues to struggle with treatment options for post-traumatic stress and other mental health conditions. It would have been more helpful for him to be advocating for this 10 years ago, Altieri said. In 2011, he wrote a letter, Boehner wrote a letter to a constituent that he was against, quote, legalization of marijuana or any other FDA Schedule I drug, adding, I remain concerned that legalization will result in increased abuse of all varieties of drugs, including alcohol. So, the gateway theory. I mean, clearly see this evolution. This evolution has happened for a lot of people. Marijuana is more popular now, not only because the people who didn't like it are dying off and the people who do like it are getting older and participating in these surveys, but a lot of people have changed their mind. They've evolved from believing what they were brought up on, as in the Louisiana state representative in our last story, and they evolve on the issue. Now, again, like I said, I can see both sides of this. A lot of people are saying, well, this guy's a carpetbagger. He's just interested in the money. It would have been better for him to say this 10 years ago. All that's true. But I will say this, a couple things. First of all, if it was just about money, I think Boehner's a lawyer. I assume he's a lawyer. He can make money in many areas. He's a former Speaker of the House. He can make a lot of money somewhere for probably very little work. Partner in a law firm or something, make 6 figures for doing nothing, maybe write some books, do some speaking gigs, whatever. You're sitting pretty. So it's not a guarantee that he was like, oh, well, I'm only going to get into marijuana because this is where the big money is. There's big money in a lot of places for a guy who used to be Speaker of the House. That's not denying the fact that there's big money in marijuana. Of course there is. But there's also the school of thought that says people who evolve on the issue, like Boehner says he has, which is, like I said, that encompasses a lot of people. A lot of people have done that. They've taken that journey. Attacking these people is going to make them less likely to step out of the shadows. Now, I don't know how much I buy that. I mean, I think that people really don't care anymore. You can't express an opinion anywhere about anything anymore without getting attacked on the internet and social media and all that. So I think people are getting more and more desensitized to that. But here's what is true, is that we have a former Speaker of the House, someone who older conservative people look up to, saying that, hey, I looked into this issue and I changed my mind. Now that's big. However many folks who admire John Boehner or like John Boehner or think John Boehner, maybe it's interesting that he evolved on this issue, and they look into the issue and they make their own evolution on this issue, that's a good thing. And whatever he contributes to that is great. But again, all the other stuff, he should have done it 10 years ago. He's in it for the money. This is, BS. Where were you? You weren't helping us before. Now you want to get in on this. Now that it's legal, all that's true. But, we can't deny that having a conservative, right-leaning voice in this area is not going to sway some people. It is. And it will. And that's, in the end, that's a good thing. And if you don't want to, frequent whoever, whatever acreage owns, then don't. If you don't like it, buy from other people. It's legal now in some places and with various heavy restrictions, regulations, and taxes, but it's kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit, a smidgen legal in some areas of the United States. So we got that going for us. And it gives you more choices. But, hey, in the end, I'm not going to, pull up a chair with John Boehner and smoke a doobie with him or whatever. But I'm not going to deny that his voice will have influence, and not going to deny that a lot of people are ignorant about a lot of things until they look into those things, and then they're not ignorant about them anymore, and they change their mind. And that, in the end, is a good thing. You can't make up for the sins of the past, but, you can try. And if he's out there advocating for marijuana and for legalization, well, that also is a good thing. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Cannabis News for April 11th, 2018, only 9 days away from 420. Can you believe it? Thank you to NatureSideCannabis.com for being a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. As I said, make sure you check us out on marijuanatimes.org and all the articles there. Thank you to everybody who likes and shares and spreads the word about Cannabis News and all your social media networks and in real life. You help us spread the truth about cannabis around the world. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out, and we'll see you next time on Cannabis News.